Having been hurt by someone is never enough reason to hurt them back. If I were good at grammar, I could answer the question. If I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend 6 sharpening my axe. If my grandparents were alive, they could experience a whole new world. If nature were not beautiful, it would not be worth knowing, and life would not be worth living. If you had a 1-year vacation, what would you do during that time? I would love to travel and see the world a bit. If happiness were sold, few of us could pay the price. Life expectancy would grow by leaps and bounds if green vegetables smelled as good as bacon. I met a new friend today. Would it be all right if I invited him to supper? Perhaps you should get to know this new friend a bit better before bringing him home. It would be great if you could come to my party tonight. If we all did just one random act of kindness daily, we might set the world in the right direction. If all the ice in the Arctic should melt, many coastal areas would disappear. If the internet were to stop functioning, the results could be chaotic. If you were to change your job right now, what would you choose? I'd be an ice cream taster. It's my dream job. If you had spent more time on the project, you would have made fewer mistakes. If Edison had been born before Gutenberg, books might have been distributed as sound recordings. I tried and failed to tell Mark my feelings for him. If I had thought of the right words, I could have told him what I was thinking. If I had not dared to be risky, I could never have dared to be great. I would not have seen the movie if I had read the reviews. Mary is marrying John. If her father had been alive, he would have heartily agreed with her marriage to him. If you had taken a different path, what would you be doing now? I'm not sure. I suppose I could have been anything. If it hadn't rained in the morning, we would be on top of the mountain now. If I were in your shoes, I would try to look on the bright side. Had Asian countries been unified with one language, there would have been less diversity in our history. Betty didn't get the job she applied for. She would have gotten the job had she been better prepared. Should you have further questions, please feel free to email or call us. According to research, nearly a third of adults would face financial disaster within 2 months should they lose their jobs. Bill made a fool of himself today. Had he followed my advice, he would have saved face. When I read a good book, I wish my life were 3,000 years long. I wish I had expressed my gratitude to my parents more often. Attendees of the lecture wish they could have had more time for discussion. The old Romans wished they had a king, because they hadn't yet tasted the sweetness of freedom. The Prime Minister was not a good man. Many people wish he had not been in a public office because of his dishonesty. The city was beautiful, and I wished we could have stayed longer. I always try to live my life as if there were no second chances. Some people waste your time as if they had bought it from you. My granddad was a lovely person. He always looked happy, as if a smile were painted on his face. I don't know Peter, but he talked about my sister as though she had been a close friend. It is high time that you should consider what you really want to do in the future. It's time I had a haircut. My hair is so long. I gave Rob the job. He is a genius in communication, otherwise he would never have been my choice for the position. Without friends, the world would be a pretty lonely place. But for friends, the world would be a pretty lonely place. Without copyright, the dramatic growth of the artistic, cultural, and other creative industries would have been impossible. The benefit concert couldn't have been held without the many sponsors. If it were not for love, life would be quite a gloomy experience. Had it not been for our efforts, we would be in an even more difficult position now. Supposing you had been born a century ago, what differences would have been made in your life? I wouldn't have the job I have now, because it relies on technology that didn't exist back then. In different circumstances, we could have been good friends. What would you do in my place? I would tell the truth. It's the only way to fix the mess you made. Perhaps billions of years ago, Mars would have had water covering its entire surface. A true friend would never walk away when times get tough. A teen wouldn't be able to go without a cell phone for a day. Jess had the most beautiful voice. To hear her sing, you might think she was an angel. Rob is amazing. To see his everyday life, you would never think he is 80 years old. If asked for the most useful advice in life, I would say, expect difficulties always. The first person to make a voyage alone around the world was Sir Francis Chichester. You have no one to blame but yourself, because your life is the fruit of your own doing. Impossible is a word to be found only in the dictionary of fools. If you are well prepared, there is nothing to worry about. Everyone can experience the joy of generosity, because everyone has something to give. You can never cross the ocean until you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Making working hours flexible could give people more time to spend with their children. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day to have to think more clearly in school. Money is not an aim to live for, but just a means of exchange. Had a lot of school and friend issues to deal with last month. The best season to plant tomatoes is in the late spring or early summer. It's a terrific house to live in. You can feel the seasons through the huge glass windows. A barking dog seldom bites. People experiencing stress tend to long for more fatty, salty, and sugary foods. Some aromas have a relaxing effect on the body. For example, lavender. According to doctors, hair turning grey runs in the family. The United Nations is an international organization promoting world peace, civil rights, and anti-terrorism. About a third of the students graduating from the technology department of our university have taken jobs in the IT industry. Books dealing with self-development are popular these days. Life is a journey, not a guided tour. DNA left behind at the crime scene is used as court evidence. Regret for wasted time is more wasted time. Truth is like the moon, hidden by dark clouds on a dark night. Cats have flexible bodies and sharp teeth adapted for hunting small animals such as mice. Only people involved in the project are allowed to access the data. The secret funds scandal revealed in today's news may just be the tip of the iceberg. Things acquired with little effort are easily lost. I love meeting interesting people and doing things with them. People interested in what you're interested in are more likely to become friends with you. Trying to stop an unwanted habit can be an extremely frustrating task, as habits are difficult to break. Take a guided tour of the Vatican museums for an amazing travel experience. Customers satisfied with the quality of the project gave a high score in the customer satisfaction survey. Social media is a favorite pastime for many bored people. Peter finally quit his job. After years of working with boring people, he set off to travel the world. To learn anything new, you have to have an open mind. I'm really sorry to hear that. They must be crazy to believe such nonsense. I'm always doing what I can't do to learn how to do it. Breaks are needed to revive your energy levels and recharge your mental stamina. Attempt the impossible in order to improve your work. Make a detailed plan in advance, not to waste your time. Some animals, like the chameleon, can change the color of their skin so as not to be seen by predators. We are pleased to offer free trees through our annual tree distribution event. I was foolish to give up my dreams just because of fear of failure. Many young Koreans are growing up to be taller than their parents. I woke up to find the sun shining brilliantly. If you wish to live to see better days, you must endure the bad days. Many of us attempt change only to give up after a few tries. I wonder what happened to the baker. One day he disappeared from the town, never to be seen again. To see the scene, you would never forget it. You would be foolish to spend money on something that you can't afford.